There's a famous seaside place called Blackpool.
Right.
It's noted for fresh air and fun. And Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with young Albert, their son. A grand little lad was young Albert, all dressed in his best, quite a swell, with a stick with an horse's head handle, the finest that Woolworth could sell. They didn't think much to the ocean, the waves they was fiddling and small, there was no wrecks and nobody drowned, in fact nothing to laugh at all. So seeking for further amusement, they paid him into the zoo, where they had lions and tigers and camels, and old ale and sandwiches too. There were one great big lion called Wallace. His nose were all covered in scars, and he lay in his thumbnail and posture, with the side of his face on the bars. Now Albert had heard about lions, and they was ferocious and wild. To see lying so peaceful, well, it didn't seem right to the child. So straightway, the brave little fellow, not showing a morsel of fear, took his stick with his horse's head handle and stuck it in Wallace's ear. You could see the lion didn't like it. For giving a kind of a roll, he dragged Albert in cage with him and swallowed the little lad whole. Then Pa had seen the occurrence and didn't know what to do next. Said, "Mother, young lion is Albert." And Mother said, "Hey, I am vexed." Then Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom, quite rightly, when all said and done, complained to the animal keeper that the lion had eaten their son. The keeper was quite nice about it. He said, "What a nasty mishap. Are you sure it's your boy he's eaten?" Pa said, "Am I sure? There's his cap." The manager had to be sent for. He came and he said, "What's to do?" Pa said, "Young lion's at Albert, and him in his Sunday clothes too." Then Mother said, "Right's right, young fella. I think it's a shame and a sin for a lion to go and eat Albert, and after we've paid to come in." The manager wanted no trouble. He took out his purse right away, saying how much to settle the matter. Pa said, "How much do you usually pay?" But Mother had turned a bit awkward when she thought where Albert had gone. She said, "No, someone's got to be summoned." So that was decided upon. Then off they went to police station in front of the magistrate chap. They told him what happened to Albert and proved it by showing his cap. The magistrate gave his opinion that no one was rally to blame, and he hoped the Ramsbottoms would have further sons to their name. And that Ma got proper blazing. "Why, thank you so kindly," says she. "What, waste all my life raising children for ruddy lions to eat, not me." Three April foot, no, don't have Battle of Hastings. There is. You have heard how young Albert Ramsbottom, in a zoo up at Blackpool one year, took a stick with an horse's head handle and gave a lion a poke in the ear. The name of the lion was Wallace. The poke in the ear made him wild. Before he could say, "Bob's your uncle," he'd up and he'd swallowed the child. He was sorry the moment he'd done it. With children he'd always been chums. Besides, he'd no teeth in his noddle, and he couldn't chew Albert on gums. He could feel the lad moving inside him as he lay in his bed of dried ferns, and it might have been little lad's birthday. He wished him such happy returns. But Albert kept kicking and fighting till Wallace arose, feeling bad. Decided it was time that he started the stage of comeback for the lad. So with his head down in the corner on his front paws, he started to walk, and he coughed, and he sneezed, and he gargled, till Albert shot out like a cork. Old Wallace felt better directly, and his figure once more became lean. Use your imagination. And the only difference with Albert was his face and his hands were quite clean. Meanwhile, Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom had gone home to tea, feeling blue. Says, "Mother, I feel down in the mouth like." Pa says, "I bet Albert does too." Said Mark, just goes for to show you that the future is never revealed. If I thought we were going to lose him, I'd have not had his boots sold in him. Let's look on the bright side, said Father. What cannot be helped must be endured. Every cloud is a silvery lining, and we did have young Albert insured. A knock at the door came that moment as Pa these kind words did speak. 'Twas the man from the Prudential. He'd come for his tuppence per person per week. When Pa saw who'd been knocking, he laughed, and he kept laughing so that the young man said, "What's there to laugh at?" Pa said, "You laugh at all when you know." "Excuse him for laughing," says Mother, "but really think that was so strange. Our Albert's been eaten by a lion. You'll have to pay us for a change." Then the young man from the Prudential, Come now, let's understand this. You don't mean to say that you've lost him?" "Oh no," says Mother, "we know where he is." When the young man had heard all the details, a bag from his pocket he drew, and he paid them with interest and bonus the sum of £9 4 and 2. Pa had scarce got his hands on the money when a face at the window they see, and Mother says, "Look, it's Albert," and Father says, "Aye, it would be." Young Albert came in all excited and started his story to give, and Pa says, "I'll never trust lions again, not so long as I live." The young fellow from the Prudential to pick up the money began, and Father says, "Just a moment, don't be an hurry, young man." Then giving young Albert this shilling, he said, "Bob off back to zoo. Here's your stick with your horse," he said, "Handle. Go and see what the lion tigers can do." Now these were bedtime stories, you know.